And welcome to part 5 of What If Naruto had Swift release. So for the first time in a while, I'm just going to do a little house cleaning based on a couple of things that just got brought up. And really, it's not much, but there's just one thing that got brought up. And it's a response to something I said, I think, in a previous video about how Naruto was basically a reincarnation of kinda Ninja Jesus to some way or something like that. And a lot of people kind of interpreted what I said as me falling into the camp. People said, yeah, it ruined Naruto's character. Now everything came easy to him and all that. And one person even went, bro, I'll be the voice of facts right here. Skip what they said. And then said, stop spreading the lame man Naruto critic falsehood. Okay, so to that person, I don't want to be an asshole. But dude, that made you sound really preachy and really superior when you said that. At least in the context of which you said it. But look, I guess I got missed. I fall into the camp of people who actually go against that theory. Maybe I didn't explain myself well in that, but I fall into the camp of people that, yeah, even though he's the reincarnation of this character, nothing in Naruto's life came easy to him. He still had to work for it. He simply just had that potential in there, but he did have to work towards that. And he had to put a lot of work into that, and ultimately became one of the strongest ninja ever. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say, because I saw a lot of people comment on that. I'm like, geez, a lot of people really misinterpret what I was saying. Again, maybe I didn't interpret it or say what I meant properly. I think all I was saying was, I think it's funny that Naruto was talking about fate and destiny being bullshit when he was the reincarnation of someone who was destined to do something very important. Which, to be fair, he did do, so I think that's what I was trying to get at, and not that Naruto had it any easier because he was the reincarnation of Azura. Anyway, now they're almost, well, actually, we're not even almost 3 minutes in. Let's move on. Last time, we left off with Naruto going up against Gaara and Sasuke. Well, Naruto and Sasuke going up against Gaara. They find Sasuke. He's clutching his neck. The curse mark's activated. Naruto is squaring off. Oh, that's one other thing I wanted to point out. Now I remember there was another one. One I just wanted just real quick. Yeah, Sasuke. Someone says Sasuke could probably beat Gaara. No, he couldn't have. A stronger Sasuke was not going to beat Gaara, because Sasuke was not going to beat Gaara. It was kind of all but shown, implied, and almost said Sasuke could not have beaten Gaara. Gaara said he was the strongest opponent he had ever faced, and someone scaled him above 5th Gate Lee. You gotta be careful when you scale people like that, because honestly, 5th Gate Lee would probably beat, at that point, Sasuke pretty easily. But Gaara scaled him most likely above 5th Gate Lee as the strongest opponent he faced, because he had other things besides Taijutsu to go off of. He had Sharingan, he had Ninjutsu. He was still insanely fast. He had the Chidori. So that's most likely, all those things conflated is probably why Gaara thought him stronger than Lee. And by all accounts, if Lee didn't like go into upper gates, Sasuke would probably beat him at that point. But 5th Gate Lee, I stand by 5th Gate Lee would probably wreck Sasuke at that point. Because just because you can see something with the Sharingan doesn't mean you have the reflexes to react to it. And there was no indication Sasuke moved at 5th Gate Lee levels of speed. He moved probably like at Lee with his weight sauce. In fact, I think they even made a point saying that he was moving fast or faster than Lee with his weights off. But that does not mean he's 5th Gate speed. Okay, that was the other thing I knew I wanted to talk about. Anyway, so Sasuke's on the ground, the branch. Gaara attacks them. Naruto's able to get out of the way and even get Sasuke out of the way, but Sakura still gets slammed by the sand and is being crushed to death. Naruto is squaring off against Gaara, but he still feels that fear because he didn't initially try to go up against Gaara. He was initially scared until he heard Sasuke, talk about, until he heard Sasuke say, if I die, it just means this is as far as I was meant to go. I will not let my comrades die. And Naruto thinks back to Haku, and he just says, it just looks at Sasuke and just, you stay here. I've got this. You really think you could stand against me, Naruto Uzumaki? And all of a sudden, boom, he just gets the shot in the face. Just, Almost like I could see like if I were ever an animator, I could see a version of like the Goku versus Jiren shot where I will not let anyone hurt my friends, where he just cracks in and you just see his face. I could see like a scenario in the animated version of this What If, where that's the look. Just Gaara goes flying. Naruto suddenly makes a bunch of clones and starts blitzing on Gaara. Now, Gaara is still mostly fine defense-wise. His Saiyan is able to absorb a lot of those blows, but it's still enough that he can feel the impacts, and he wasn't in full transformed form yet, so like I think he saw like portion of his cheek exposed, so that might be the spot Naruto hit. Either way, Naruto still rushes, and he, ultimately just boom, boom, and Naruto then swift release and 1,000 years of death. And it's like, oh, great, an enema. And just gets knocked out, and then boom. And then the Naruto Everywhere Shuriken Uzumaki Barrage swift release style comes into play, and that wrecks Gaara's shit. Like, much more effectively than it does in here, because Naruto now has the momentum of swift release to rely on those clones. Unfortunately, your clone is only so durable, so a couple of them poof out of existence, but they all come in for another attack, and they're actually able to get a couple more attacks in because swift release allows them to move. Excuse me. Oh, I just had dinner. Swift release allows them to move much faster than they did in the original. In the original, they were all coming down upon Gaara, and Gaara was then transformed. Here, they can just rush him again and boom, 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 like that. Like, we might be able to evolve swift release down the line, because the little we see of it, and I mean the little we see of it in the one movie, it's mostly used for just movement. But in theory, you should be able to move parts of your body at super fast speeds as well. So probably during a 3-year time skip, we're going to be able to maybe work around and evolve this a bit more. Because I can imagine Naruto just going like almost like a jackhammer, but at full force punches into someone. Just tiny fists of terror, as we said once for a friend of mine. Tiny fists of terror. She was a small girl, but she had a lot of spunk, and she's like tiny fist of terror, and her boyfriend at the time was like 6 foot, and he was like 6'4". Anyway, so Gaara eventually just no way, not to him, and he's actually getting pounded on. Just there's no way I'm gonna lose to a guy like him, and he transforms into a Shikaku form, gets Naruto, has him pretty much dead to rights, and then Naruto summons Gamabunta. And at this point now, we're going to be doing a little quick jumps, because Naruto having swift release doesn't change a huge chunk of scenarios, but one thing it does change is when Naruto goes in for that for the attack, initially, like he's still got to transform Bunta into the Nine-Tailed Fox, but when Naruto goes in for initial attack, he still hits Gaara. The difference here is that he doesn't actually even really need the Fox's chakra. Well, he did know that he was pretty much out of chakra, so he does need a little bit of the Fox's chakra. But because he's able to revitalize that into his system, he doesn't get caught by Gaara's sand and have to headbutt him. He just swift release and just and because of that, that scenario with him and Gaara at the end does change up a bit, where Naruto is not just looking like death warmed over. Basically, he just got the crap kicked out of him. He can still stand, although he's struggling to stay on his feet. He can still stand, and he still gives that speech about it's almost unbearable, the loneliness. It's like, why would you protect anyone other than yourself? Because they saved me from myself, so I'll do anything to protect them, even if I have to kill you. And so I'm paraphrasing that down and kind of shortening it, but that was the gist. And so the day is saved, but at what cost? The third is dead. We will now cut we will cut much further, very much. We will cut much farther ahead now, because between here and Itachi and Kasame meeting up with him, there is nothing Naruto having swift release would change here at all. So moving on, when Itachi and Kasame show up at his room, he's scared shitless. Like, he's still scared. Like, nothing changes about that. These guys, he knows, I do not want to F with these guys. The difference here, though, is he could try to make a run for it. The problem is, though, that as fast as he is, as long as you're trained, like, we see just how fast some shinobi get, and, like, how fast with training Kakashi's reaction time was. And Itachi, we know, straight out beat Kakashi. Now, granted, Kakashi kind of purposely took the Tsukuyomi. I should probably count that. I need to make the list. I've had enough requests for the top 10 dumb or stupid whatever Naruto decision video that I'll probably do it. But I gotta write down the list of all of them. That probably falls in there where Kakashi thought, hey, Sharingan to Sharingan. Why would you willingly try to do that? Like, if you got caught by accident, it's one thing. You try to fight it off. But why would you willingly try to do that? Unless your ego got a little ahead of you there, Kakashi. Anyway, and then I'm not just going to say, well, he thought this and this. I get it. I do understand why he thought he could do that. Doesn't change the fact it was a bad choice. Not a smart thing to do. So even though Naruto could maybe try to get away for a little bit, I have a feeling Itachi and Kisame would catch up with him. And that would lead to Jiraiya, my guy, Sasuke. All of that would still go down, I think, almost beat for beat. Sasuke being knocked out. And yeah, so nothing really changes there. Then you had the Rasengan training. Now the question is, does the ability to use Swift Release change Naruto's ability to learn the Rasengan? He has both a wind and most likely a lightning chakra involved. Let me rephrase that. We know he has wind chakra, and he most likely has a lightning chakra because that's most likely what Swift Release is a combination of. We do know it's an elemental transformation. It just doesn't produce any actual jutsu. So does that affect? Unfortunately, if this were, say, like Storm Release, then I would say 100%. Because Storm Release is water and lightning, which produces the lasers. But because of that, he can manipulate the water and just pop it if he wanted to. Anything with water would probably be more beneficial to Naruto, assuming that he's been training with the element. Here, maybe he's got a little bit more power or control, but not enough that he'd be able to use it with one hand or anything like that. Maybe he'd be able to get through it a little quicker. Which would lead us, though, to the Tsunade confrontation. Now, at this point, while I would say that he might be able to get through it a little quicker, that it's kind of irrelevant for the sake of the story. He's still going to get the Rasengan down when he gets it. And so the Tsunade Jiraiya conversation happens. Naruto keeps hearing her badmouth the third Hokage. And this leads to Naruto just finally calling her out. It's like, you want to take this? It's like, I don't care if she's who this woman is. I'll knock that sneer off your face. You want to take this outside, brat? And so drunken Tsunade challenges Naruto, who initially does get that flick to the forehead, loses his headband, and then Naruto creates the Rasengan. It's like, that jutsu. But the very big difference here, even though the Rasengan's not complete, it can still hurt quite a bit. Because of the Swift Release, and she's not aware he has that, he really just, and she's like, what? Boom! He actually lands that square on her chest. But no, straight in the gut. He basically lands the shot point blank on her. Or, no, point blank doesn't make any sense because, the Rasengan, I guess, for all intent and purposes, would be called a point blank technique. You have to be right there at the epicenter, so point blank. But yeah, he lands it dead to right. And so she's just shocked and in pain. And she actually gets blasted back. Although it's not a true perfected Rasengan, so the power is cut by a decent margin. Because the chakra's just escaping off there. She does get blown back a good couple feet. And he even has to grab her. And she's hurt. It tore her shirt down there. That's why I decided to go more with the stomach than the chest. But it tore their shirts tore. She is surprisingly not bleeding, although her flesh is seriously not torn, but twisted and bruised. And Shizune even says, "Tsunade, do not look down, as there is probably blood starting to come out." Like, it's one of those. You ever get a cut like a big cut, but you don't initially bleed until you kind of like touch it a little bit, and then all of a sudden you just start bleeding. Kind of like that, where it's like a delayed effect, and then she even coughs it up. She can feel like there's some internal damage here. Nothing serious, she can tell as a medic. It's like, you brat. Then Naruto's like, what did you think of? He just cracks the ground. Oh, crap! And finally Jiraiya steps like, that's enough. I was like, Naruto, yeah, you proved your points, Tsunade. Not a bad, and you've really improved, Naruto. I'm impressed. You still got a ways to go, though. Damn it. And she's busy healing herself up. Just, that little, how the hell is he? And Jiraiya just looks at her and it's like, he just kind of walks over and says, let me just look you over. You're not a medic. And he just whispers here, he's Minato's boy. And she just kind of like, of course, I recognize that the blonde hair, blue-eyed idiot anywhere. But I think he inherited his abilities full force. To think when he said his name was Uzumaki, I should have picked it up. Why bother teaching that technique? Why bother teaching that technique to someone who can never master it? And it's like, oh, give me 3 days, I'll have that technique down. I'll give you a week, and I'll steal your froggy. Like, Jesus, Tsunade, what a crap thing to do. It's like, I'm going to take your money, kid. Of course, Jiraiya wasn't very much better, so. And I'll throw my necklace. And so Naruto goes to training. Ultimately, you don't get a lot of changes until you get to the Sannin deadlock. Because Naruto, being antagonized by Kabuto, goes in for the attack. But the difference here is, swift release, Kabuto, while knowing Naruto has it, still isn't prepared to go up against it, as Naruto actually comes in and gets legitimate shots in on Kabuto. Probably even brings a couple kunais out and start cutting him up a bit. Kabuto basically has to just time it, react, and use some chakra scalpels to just crack the clones, get some blood in one of Naruto's eyes, and eventually hit him. But now Kabuto's actually a little effed up. Even though he's got great healing abilities, he wasn't expecting to have to put this much effort into doing that. And he actually does probably give Naruto a compliment, saying, I got to give you credit, Naruto. I know that you have that swift release, but I didn't actually expect to go up against it. It really is something. That shot really is quite a nuisance. I was like, tell me about it. You tried training the kid. And so the rest of the Sannin deadlock, though, goes about the same. With Jiraiya trying to summon Bunta, fails. Naruto trying to help, fails even more. Naruto going to save Shizune, his swift release being very useful for that. And ultimately him and Kabuto squaring off, and him finally perfecting the Rasengan with a Shadow Clone, hitting Kabuto, him getting the Chakra Scalpel, going down. The big boss deadlock finally happens. Tsunade overcoming her fear of blood. Oh, shebang, bee-ba-boop. And this is actually in my notes, which I don't have in front of me because they were all pretty basic notes for the changes. This is actually where I stopped, but we're only at 18 minutes. Let's continue on here. I actually didn't expect it. I expected it to be done around this time. So, and I'll admit, here I'm kind of just doing it off the top of my head. After this point, I'm trying to figure out where we need to go. So we get back to the Leaf, because Tsunade accepts being the 5th Hokage. And they go to see Sasuke. And Sasuke is pissed, and he still wants to challenge Naruto. They probably haven't had a legitimate spar in a while. I did make a point of saying that Naruto and him were rivals in the academy because Naruto's one of the few people who could actually beat him in a fight, which helped push him stronger, or push him harder. And he, like before, he's like, Naruto, fight me. I want you to fight me right now. It's like, well, you just got fixed up like Tsunade. What are you talking about? So you were so eager to fight before, but now you're chickens. Like, what? Easy, you guys. Fine, let's do this. To the roof. And so they square off. Now, Naruto's not going to go all out against Sasuke. Obviously, he's not. But he still has his swift release. The question is, between Sasuke's fully 3-Tomai Sharingan, I don't think I forgot about that, versus his swift release on maybe like 50%, who wins? Well, I would definitely go with Sasuke on that, because as we've kind of established here, he's a little stronger than his canon counterpart. Not by a lot, but he is stronger. And his canon counterpart was at least as fast, if not faster, than Lee with his weights on. Now, Naruto at this point has definitely surpassed that level of speed by probably a decent chunk, but that's at his full speed. Half speed Naruto, Sasuke is probably not going to be able to have a seriously difficult time with him, but Naruto can still push him, be sure. We also know that in that fight, if I'm not mistaken, Sasuke didn't activate the Sharingan initially in that fight, if I'm remembering correctly. I'll have to rethink that, go through that fight again, see if he, at any point before he activated his Chidori, if he activated the Sharingan. Because he had to have activated, because he knows he has to use it with the Sharingan. Anyway, Naruto and him fight. Naruto makes a couple clones, definitely. And once he makes a couple clones, even at 50%, his Sharingan can only do so much to compensate for the blitz. And Naruto is actually gaining the ground on it. Sasuke finally really actually puts the Sharingan to serious work and is able to start fighting back, still getting hits in. Naruto comes in, actually throws some clones, and like uses the momentum, like just launch them like bullets, and one of them just tackles Sasuke, just boom, boom, and eventually just does the fireball jutsu. Naruto activates his Rasengan. Kakashi stops him. He sees that Naruto's attack was actually stronger, and ultimately that's where that scenario I think ends. I think Naruto fares much better in that fight, and he might have actually beaten Sasuke. Had that fight in the actual legitimate fight that happened, I think he might have actually beaten him in that struggle. As we see in the Valley of the End, Naruto did not actually go for like the attack shot when it came to Sasuke. He instead decided to scratch the headband to prove the point. Had that attack collided, I guess that's a good question. That's a question I don't know if anyone's ever asked. If both their attacks had actually collided, like legitimately head on, and they were both intending to actually beat the other, who do we think would have won in the Valley of the End? That's an interesting question, because one of Naruto's arms was out. Sasuke had both of his arms still usable, but he was running on borrowed time because of the curse mark. So who do you think would win? Let me know, or in the comments. But Kakashi gives him the speech. He's like, maybe if I killed everyone you cared about, you'd understand a little bit of what I felt. It's an interesting theory, but you're a little late to test it out. And I just love the fact he does it with the eye smile. It's like, everyone you're talking about is already dead. You just see that look of, oh. It's like, yeah, I've been around a lot longer than you, kid. I've seen my share of heartbreak. It's like, yeah, you don't know shit about what you're talking about, son. But beyond that, you would get the Sound 4 fight. Again, Sasuke, as far as I know, didn't activate his Sharingan with when he fought the Sound 4. I don't think he did. I don't remember it being activated. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below both the Naruto fight and the Sound 4 fight. For now, I'm going to say that he didn't. Even if he did, I don't think it would change the outcome ultimately that much. It might last a bit longer. But they still managed to just beat him. And yeah, he's going to make that decision to go. And so Sakura's just waiting for him. He's like, I'm so in love with you, I can't stand it. Which I don't know. Should I put another one to put in cosplay? Should I put Sakura being just so stupidly in love with Sasuke as one of the dumbest decisions / moments in Naruto? Let me know. I don't think I will. I think that's just the way her character is, for better or worse. Anywho, so yeah, so we cut to after the fact. Sasuke leaves. He will get the pill to put him in the second state, force him in there, and then they'll seal him up. And then they'll run into the Leaf Jonin and beat them, only barely. And so the Sasuke retrieval team will be formed, which would still consist of Naruto, Shikamaru, Choji, Neji, and Hiba. I don't see that changing, personally. And that is where we're going to leave off part 5. I'm actually surprised. I didn't think I was going to get this far in. I thought I was going to end like with the deadlock. When I saw we were at like the 18-minute mark, I'm like, oh, I can keep going for a while longer. I'm going to have to riff it a little bit, but I can keep going. So anyway, I digress. That's the end of this particular part of the What If. We'll come back Wednesday for part 6. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time. Have a good one.